Okay, this video is going to be about my version of the Frenzy Barbarian using the Horde of 90 Savages set armor. So basically, I'm wearing all 6 pieces of the armor. As you can see, I do have a few primal pieces that I'm wearing, but for the most part, for the basic build, you want to get all 6 pieces of this set. It basically doubles your shouts and their effectiveness, causing you to deal double damage to anybody who's frozen, feared, or stunned. It will also give you frenzy stacks, and each frenzy stack will reduce your damage taken by 6%, and then frenzy will last twice as long. And then for the full set, frenzy deals 2,000% increased damage per stack. So for the weapons, I'm using the Oathkeeper because your primary skills attack 50% faster and deal 200% increased damage. This is a crafted primal, so it's the only crafted primal that I can wear because you're only allowed to wear one crafted primal. For my secondary weapon, I am using the Azure Wrath, which is a primal that I found. There's no particular reason for this one. It's fast attack speed, and it's continuously doing 650% damage to undead and demon enemies within 25 yards. So, for my bracers, I'm wearing the Van Braces of Secheron because primary skills heal you for 5.5% of your missing life. I believe the maximum on these is 6% if you can find a really good roll, but it basically just keeps me healed, which is a necessity with this particular build. I'm wearing the Undisputed Champion because Frenzy gets the effect of every rune. So when you set Frenzy on your skills, you don't choose a rune. And mine is currently doing 387% increased damage. If it were perfect, it would be 400% increase, and that would be way better. I am taking the Convention of Elements. It's pretty standard for any build that you do for the most part, because it gives you up to a 200% increase in damage on a rotation for Arcane, Cold, Fire, Holy Lightning, Physical, and Poison. And this particular build, we're doing Cold, Lightning, and Physical on a regular rotation. Frenzy is always causing those, as well as Fire. Frenzy being that you get all the runes from the Undisputed Champion belt, you're going to be doing a 200% increased damage pretty much continuously because you're always doing either cold, fire, physical, or lightning damage with Frenzy. On my secondary ring, I'm wearing the Compass Rose in conjunction with the Traveler's Pledge Amulet. So it's the full Endless Walk set. This is going to give me 50% damage reduction while I'm moving and 100% damage increase while I'm standing still. And with this particular build, you're going to be doing one or the other. You're either going to be constantly running through the trash and then trying to find those blue and yellow elites, but then when you're attacking the blue and yellow elites, you're going to be standing still and you need that 100% increase to damage. We're taking the Bastions Revered in the weapon slot of our Kanai's Cube. This now gives us 10 stacks to Frenzy. So this works in conjunction with the 6-piece set for the Horde of 90 Savages, specifically the 4-piece bonus and the 6-piece bonus. You get 10 stacks. For each stack of Frenzy, your damage is reduced by 6%, so that's a 60% damage reduction. With that 6-piece set, you're getting 2,000% increased damage per stack. So 2,000 times 10 is 20,000 increase, right? 20,000% increased damage. So really want to make sure that you have Bastions Revered in your Kanai Cube weapon slot. The additional benefit to this is that each additional hit is going to chain to enemies within 15 yards. And then the damage is split between all of the affected enemies. So that's kind of nice. It helps give you a bit of an area damage, where normally this particular build is a point target damage. I'm taking depth diggers, of course, it's 100% to any primary skills. So in this case, Frenzy being the primary skill, it's going to boost Frenzy. For my jewelry slot, I am using the Band of Might because if you cast Furious Charge, Ground Stomp, or Leap, you get an 80% reduced damage for 8 seconds. So the idea here is you run in, use that Furious Charge skill to get to a group of enemies real quick, get a quick 80% damage reduction buff, then start attacking them with your Frenzy to get your 10 stacks of Frenzy up. That's going to give you another 60% buff, plus it's going to give you the damage bonus increase, and then you start Furious Charging and running around from enemy group to enemy group, trying to attack mostly the blues and yellows, dealing with trash as you need to. So for the skills, of course, we're taking Frenzy, no rune, because we're going to get all the runes. Taking Furious Charge, I use Merciless Assault because it allows me to run more often, as opposed to, I forget what the other one's called, but that one gives you 3 charges on your skills bar. But I find that I would go through those 3 relatively quick, and they wouldn't recharge fast enough for me. So I switched over to the Merciless Assault because it refunds the charge when you hit an enemy. So I always try to run into a mob of enemies before I take off and run again. That way there, the charge is always refunded, and I don't have to wait on a cooldowns or a recharge of any kind. I'm taking Warcry Veteran's Warning Rune, so that I get an increased armor for 120 seconds. I'm taking the Battle Rage Bloodshed Rune as a skill. As you can see, it increases my damage and critical hit chance. This also lasts 120 seconds. I'm taking Threatening Shout Intimidate because you strike fear in your enemies and make their attacks do less damage. So these are basically just damage reduction buffs here. And then, of course, Wrath of the Berserker. I use Insanity because it gives me increased damage. You could also use Striding Giant, which will give you increased damage reduction. It's more defense that way. But I prefer to do more damage with this guy, so I go with the Insanity rune. For my passives, I'm using Ruthless. I like that 40% additional damage to enemies below 30% health. It's very reminiscent of the Necromancer Frailty Curse. So as soon as you get them to 30% health, you start hitting them with 40% additional damage beyond what you're already doing anyway, and it just pops them real quick. It's that, you just get them down there, and then this pretty much guarantees them wiping out and dying, and it works best for me. There is another passive you could take that gives you a consistent 25% at all times, but I feel like this works better for me. I'm also taking Rampage, of course, because it increases my strength by 1% for 8 seconds after killing anything, and then can stack up to 25 times. So that's a 25% increase pretty much at all times because you're always going to be attacking and killing stuff. I take the Tough as Nails to get the increased armor by 25%. I'm not too worried about the Thorns part of it. I'm just taking the extra armor. And then, of course, the Boon of Bolcathos to try to keep my Wrath of Berserker on as fast a cooldown as possible in conjunction with my normal cooldown rate because he's got a relatively long cooldown otherwise. It's, I think it's 120 seconds. So, all right, so that's the basic build. I have a couple of variations here that I've been playing with on it. The 2 biggest variations are the ones where I'm taking the Augild's Authority set. This gives me the 2-piece bonus of reduced damage by 15% and increasing my damage by 30% for pretty much everything across the board. And then with the elites, if you have the 3-piece bonus using the Ring of Royal Grandeur, you'll get a 30% damage reduction from elites and 30% damage against elites. Plus you're still doing the 15 and the 30 against everything else. So it's kind of nice. I take that in conjunction with 2 different gems. The first setup using Augild's, I do have the Bane of the Stricken gem, but the second one, I use the esoteric alteration because this basically gives me a 60% damage reduction and makes me very, very, very tanky. And I've been able to get up to 110 greater rifts with this and do them pretty well. There's a couple of other variations, but for the most part, you know, I only play the 2 and the 4, but I'm going to show you 1, 2, and 4 in greater rifts. Real quick, the gems are pretty standard here. I'm taking Bane of the Trapped because once you get it above level 25, it procs itself and gives you a percentage of damage increase against control impaired enemies. So the higher the gem is, the more damage you're doing, and this gem puts out that aura that then procs itself constantly. So it's just a continual damage buff there. I'm taking the Simplicity Strength, of course. The big one here is that it increases the damage of your primary skills, or in this case, Frenzy, by whatever the percentage is based on the level of the gem itself. But once you're above 25 in levels, hits with your primary abilities will heal you for 4%. So combining this in conjunction with I forget what it is. It's the other one here with these. Van Brace's Accessoron, you know, you're basically getting a 9% healing. If you can get this at 6%, then you're going to do a 10% healing. So, you know, that's the hopes here. And then, of course, I'm taking the Bane of the Stricken in most of these builds because it gives me that damage increase mostly against the Guardians and bosses is what I'm looking at here. You know, that 2% stack that I almost have on it is also nice, but I'm mainly trying to kill bosses and Rift Guardians as quickly as possible, and this gem helps with that. I do swap it out with the Esoteric one when I go into the higher levels because I need the damage reduction. So. Alright, so let's just get into it. We'll show you how it runs. I'll do a simple Greater Rift 105 if I have the stones for it here. Let's see how many do we got. Got 2 stones. Alright, so we'll get into it. Gonna look for some enemies. I'm gonna run, get that buff going for the damage reduction. I'm gonna start killing stuff, and then I'm just gonna run away. I'm not too stressed about it. I want to find elites if I can. Every now and then I'll attack just to keep my 10 stacks up. But the big thing here is looking for and hunting for those elites. Here we go. So we're going to sit here. Oh. They got me. I wasn't paying attention to my ring, and that will happen. So there we go. Get that buff going. Now this build is not perfect. You will occasionally die, but you're going to kill stuff fast enough with this build that you're going to get ahead of the game. Let's see, where's our next up? Get some Wrath of the Berserker going here. We're going to have a big mob of trash, so we'll just mess with some of them and kill them. I know a lot of people like to hunt elites and nothing but elites. But trash can be useful. They do help you build up that bar and get through it a little quicker. So I would not suggest ignoring them at all times, but you know, attack when you need to. You are mostly looking for the elites and the bosses here. And you see how quick these guys go down when I'm fighting against the boss. And so we've caught right back up to our bar here. So as long as we can find more bosses to beat, we should eventually get ahead of the game. Ooh, we got us a little... Oh, here we go. Try to get away from that arcane. I hate that. We're going to keep our buffs up here. And popped. See, as soon as he got to that 40%, he started going down. Or that 30%, sorry. All right. Come on. There we go. As you can see, when you get into fighting elites, this particular build, and this is just the basic build, keep that in mind, but you're seeing that it can destroy elites at a greater rift. Ooh, 110. I thought I swapped that to 105. That explains a few things now. All right. Just to give you an idea of how powerful this build can be, when you're in Wrath of the Berserker mode, that defense will get up into the 2 billion sometimes, depending on the number of enemies around you. With the esoteric alteration, I have seen it get up near 5 billion for toughness, and that's quite a bit of toughness there going on. Get away before he explodes. All right. And we have done caught up and gone way ahead of where we need to be. So we are making good time here. Here we go. More open level. I, like everybody else, enjoy the more open levels, where it's easier to move around. It's easier to find the elites this way and target them compared to when you're having to follow a very linear path. Alright, not enough in here to attack. So like here, these linear type paths like this with these tunnels, these are the ones I don't really care for. Oh, there's a yellow over here. So let's get in there and attack him. And as you can see, he heals very, very quick. Of course, he does not have a whole lot of vitality right now. If I had more vitality, he'd have a lot more life. That 4% and 5% would be a lot bigger percentages to rebuild his health with. But even at this level, I find that I can pretty much get through these without too many problems. I will die here and there, but it doesn't matter. I've already died once, and yet I am almost completed with this rift. These guys should put me over the edge right here. Oh, 3%. Here we go. That's it. Now, watch how fast this Rift Guardian goes down. Look at that. That is just amazing. And again, this is the basic build. I'm not even using the better build yet. So we'll get our gems here. I'll level up something. I got a lot of stuff that's... Alright. Let's go back to town. Alright, we'll get our identify here. Ooh. Screamer. Those petrified screams, they give you the echoing nightmare, where you wave after wave will get attacked. The higher the wave you get... Oh, I did not mean to crush that. I could have used it for the primordial. All right. But yes, in the echoing nightmare, the higher the waves number you get, the higher a atonement gem you will get, and the higher the atonement gem you get, the better Call Us on Despair you can do. So in this case, on a couple of my items, let's see, here I have a rank 90, giving me an additional 450 strength. If you can get it all the way up to the maximum level, you get 125 on the atonement gem, and then when you use it in the Call Us on Despair, it'll give you a plus 625. So if you can get that plus 625 on all your legendary ancient stuff, that's a lot of extra boost. So it's definitely worthwhile collecting those, saving them up, and then using them with your best character. I use them with the Demon Hunter because he can get through that the best. So in this case, I'm going to go with the Esoteric build, because the Esoteric build gives me the huge boost to damage. So my damage is sitting at 108, and we're going to get the 80% buff going, and then we'll get our... And as you can see, I'm hitting 6 billion. 6 billion in damage reduction. So, and I'm still killing things quite quickly. That extra 30% damage from the Augiled set is just crazy. Again, you get 30% against elites and anything above elites, so yellows and blues and Rift Guardians, it works against them all the same. And then your trash, you're using that 15% boost, so you can end up doing a lot of damage with this particular build. And again, this is using the Augiled's Authority. Now, I did have to sacrifice a few things to make this work. I'm not using the healing bracers in this case, so because of that, I am using the Esoteric Alteration Gem, which is giving me that increased damage reduction. So we're just kind of running around here. Ooh, a speed pylon, that'll be helpful. We can run around a little faster looking for these elites. But as you see, I just keep sitting here and I'm popping off that ring, keeping that 80 buff up as much as I can, trying to keep my 10 stacks up as much as I can by constantly attacking. And then, of course, I'm using my Threatening Shout and everything. I'm just kind of tapping 1, 2, and 3 repetitively, trying to keep those up as much as I can for their damage increases and damage reductions. The more you can keep them up, the better. And then Wrath of the Berserker, with this particular setup, I just let Wrath of the Berserker go. I don't worry about whether or not I'm saving it for any purposes. I just cast it as soon as it's available, get it up and running, and go. Here we go. Here we go. Look at them go down. And he popped. And we got another one. Get back into the fray. Come on. Don't run away. Don't shove me away. There we go. Everybody here is good old elites. Nice. Blues and yellows. Giving me lots towards that purple bar build. Trying to find us some more while the speed is lasting. Well, we found the end first. Look at that. Again, this is a Greater Rift 110. You're seeing these blues and yellows. You're seeing them go down really, really fast. I know there was a third one. Where is she? Where'd you go? Ah, you went down here. All right. Here we go. Get us another pylon. That'll get us some elites going here. Oh. Died. That's okay. We cannot ever have a perfect run. Can't always have a perfect run, I guess. I have had a few where I've gone through without dying at all. Come on, go down. Ooh, here we go. Some of these elites are just annoying, so I'm just going to kill them. Why? Because I can. Why not? Gotta be some more. Come on. Big enough trash mob here. There we go. Ooh, these guys got arcane. Ooh. This is the one thing I hate the most is the arcane. Alright, I think we can use this area to clear the bar. just got to find us a few more elites. They got to be here. We're going to get this without another elite. Oh, here we go. We got a shielded one, so we've got to find the guys who are causing the shield, take them out first, and then we can take him down. And now we got our Rift Guardian, who's going to go down really, really quick. As you can see, that bar is just dropping, dropping, dropping. And as soon as we get to the 30% mark, it's going to drop super fast, because we're going to do increased damage. And there we go. Greater Rift completed. Still had 6 minutes and 40 seconds on a 110 difficulty. We'll collect all of our stuff here. I'll just upgrade whatever gem I can upgrade. I'll go back to town. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Those are the two different variations that you can play with. Like I said, the best thing to start out with is going for the 6-piece set. Start there and build up. You want to make sure you get those Van Braces of Sescheron to help with your healing and stuff. Make sure that you're getting the Oathkeeper weapon. You can improve your cooldowns if you use an Inguiome as your secondary weapon, but you really want to kind of roll a really good Inguiome, and keep in mind that Inguiome only gives you cooldown when you kill elites. So if you're finding enough elites and killing them fast enough, you can get your cooldowns to where Wrath of the Berserker can have a better uptime than what it normally does. But for the most part, you start with the basic 6-piece set, build on from there, and then experiment. Find your own path with it. That's what I did. I don't use the stock builds. There are a lot of websites out there that have all sorts of different configurations. Icy Veins one, Max Rolls another. I don't necessarily use those for anything more than an inspiration, and then that's it. After that, I kind of start to play around and see what I can find that works best for me. So like in some cases with some of my characters, I won't carry emeralds in my weapons. Depending on the character and what they're doing, I might put rubies in there for an increase of damage, for physical, straight damage. You know, and I play around and I find different builds like that and find out what works best for me and the way I play, and that's what I recommend you do. But if you want to play a Frenzy Barb, get the 6-piece Horde of 90 Savages set and start with that, and then build up from there. I think it's the best set. I've tried the Whirlwind Barb. I didn't really care for it. I didn't like the Leap Barb, where you cause the earthquakes and avalanches using Leap. It just wasn't as fun to me to play. I like the Frenzy Barb because I like to get right in there and do a lot of melee fighting, and this works best for me. So hopefully this will help you and you'll enjoy, and you know, you'll keep coming back to watch more videos. All right, thanks and have a good one.